Welcome to the Leslie Hawkins podcast. Each week, my guest and I discuss one pivotal moment in their life, what they learned from it, and their words of wisdom. So what if your job required you to be outside every single day? And the more successful you were, the more sun exposure you got. And then one day, it all comes crashing down with three dreaded words: you have cancer. But not just anywhere, on the one place that is your identity and your brand, on your face. This is a story of our guest's journey through 9 facial reconstructive surgeries to rid him of skin cancer. A story that goes beyond the typical scars and into the emotional toll of having to show your face to the world and fearing their reaction. With a newfound respect for the power of the sun's rays, he's dedicated his life to raising awareness, to helping others learn from his scars. And that's only part of his journey, because he also carries a unique tattoo on his forearm, a reminder of another life-defining moment. This is a story of resilience, vulnerability, and the marks, both seen and unseen, that shape who we are. So, welcome to the Leslie Hawkins podcast. We are so happy to have you with us and really happy to have our guest, Todd Keirstead, here with us today. So let me tell you a little bit about Todd. So Todd is a man of many titles. So he is a golf professional, a golf instructor. He is a trick shot artist. He's an entertainer, a keynote speaker, a founder of Bring Back the Game, which then became Paragolf Canada, which is an organization and a foundation that uses golf as a means to help people regain their life after trauma. And you've done a ton of work with the military as an example, and those that are differently abled. And you are also a skin advocate, awareness advocate from skin cancer. So there's another title that you have, though, that you're not aware of. And did I cover all the titles? Is that, did I miss anything?
No, I think you're good.
So the other title that you have that you might not be aware of is that you hold the award for being the only person who has ever made me cry in a meeting.
Come on.
Seriously. So for anybody who knows me,
Wow.
I never cry in public. Like, never.
Wow.
And so it was going back quite a few years. It was when you came into our office at TaylorMade Adidas and you were telling us the story of Bring Back the Game and why you started, and telling us your story of being a trick shot artist and golf entertainer and how you transitioned that into this incredible foundation. And you told a story about like that one impactful moment. And I would love it if you would tell our audience exactly that story today.
Do you have a Kleenex? Because I don't want you to be crying
Honestly,
again.
a bit of a puddle.
Okay. So back in 2014, I've been traveling around the world, helping raise millions of dollars for various charities through golf entertainment. And I put on a demonstration for a veterans hospital outside of Tampa, Florida. And it became apparent very quickly that a lot of the shots that I was hitting for pure entertainment value were actually emulating the wounded veterans that were in attendance. So I was hitting golf balls blindfolded, pure entertainment. I pulled the blindfold off. There were individuals that were affected by mustard gas in the Vietnam War, lost their sight. I'm swinging with one arm, hitting golf balls with one arm, showing the correlation between golf and tennis. I look out, there were arm amputees. I'm hitting golf balls standing on one leg amputees. I'm hitting golf balls off my knees, double leg amputee. Hitting golf balls out of a fold-out chair. There were guys that were in a wheelchair situation. So it immediately turned the light bulb on to me that this wasn't so much entertaining anymore with this one particular audience. It changed my mindset to this wasn't entertainment. This was now motivating and inspiring, because I was showing these individuals that, yes, maybe you can't play the game of golf the way that you used to because of the horrific situations in your life through the theater of war, but here's an adaptive way to play. So it turned the light bulb on to me that I've got this whole another way of teaching golf to individuals that were in adaptive situations. Then I was doing my first clinic, Sarasota, And it was a group of, 8 individuals, and we were working together. And I saw somebody that was in a wheelchair, lost basically the use of his body from the chest down. I was told that he was struggling with a little bit of PTSD, so he was more withdrawn from anybody else, and he didn't participate at all. So we were working with the group for about an hour or so, and his wife dropped him off. After the group left, I looked over. He was still sitting there. He was waiting for his wife. He just wanted to check things out. So I grabbed a wheelchair, and I started hitting golf balls out of the wheelchair. And every time I teed one up, I wouldn't look over, but I catch them out the corner of my eye, and I can start to see the wheels kind of turning a little bit. And I hit balls for about 4 or 5 minutes. Next thing you know, he wheels down. So then didn't do anything, just kept on hitting balls. We just started talking, asking him who he was and kind of his history and that while I'm hitting balls. And you can see him going, I can do that, right? So I'm hitting balls, and I'm teeing, because I'm in a seated position. I have to tee the balls up a little bit higher. So it's basically like we're playing seated tee-ball, because the legs are going to get in the way because the club handle is so low. So I'm teeing balls up from basically a broken shaft that's about 1.5 feet high. So then I looked at him. I go, "Are you ready?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think I can do this." So literally I hand him a golf club, and, because he had no real lower body, he wasn't able to use it. He had to hold on to the wheelchair with one arm just to stabilize his lower, and he's hitting golf balls with one arm. And within 10 minutes, I literally had him hitting the ball like 90 yards.
That's crazy.
Well, that's golf to him,
good.
right?
Yes.
And
So
the
good.
lights are going, in his mind, his eyes are lighting up. And so after about 15 minutes, he's hitting ball after ball after ball. And I'm like, "Okay, you ready to go?" And he goes, "No, I'm actually having a really good time." And I'm like, "No, are you ready to go play golf?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So I wheeled him to the first tee, put the broken shaft in the ground. He hits it 50 yards, wheel him again, put the shaft in the ground, hits it 50 yards. What I didn't realize is when we were going down after the first shot, his wife pulled up to pick him up and is like, "What's going on here?"
What is happening?
So he lived close to the golf course, and he had 2 buddies that he played golf with before his injury in Afghanistan. She called immediately. So we go out and we play the first hole. And we can't. So I had to putt for him because we can't bring the wood chair onto the green because of the indentations. So we play 9, and then we're playing 18, and we're coming back on 18, and we're about 50 yards from the green. He looks up, and remember, this is a hardened, badass soldier, right? A hoorah! He looks up. His wife is in tears. His 2 buddies are in tears. Now here's his badass. He's now in tears. I'm in tears. We're all a mess. Like, we're just blubbering idiots right now. He went and played 2 holes.
So good.
So then from there, we went to the driving range, and I showed his friends what he needs support doing to play golf again. And I still talk to him to this day, and he's now enjoying the game of golf. So
good.
That was my first real, holy shit, I think I can make a difference in someone's life.
Absolutely.
And it was just me having fun and me not being, just doing what I do.
Right.
And gave him back a game that he thought he lost, that he loved. And it's now, golf to him is like 110 yards, but it's still giving him the opportunity to have a life again and feel normal. And being on the golf course. That's what the game of golf does. So that was the big aha moment. And from there, it just kind of blew up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Bring Back the Game became Paragolf Canada.
Yeah.
And through that conversation and you telling that story and us all being a blubbering mess, quite frankly, in that meeting room, you then became an ambassador for Adidas and the brand. And actually in the front lobby of the Canadian Adidas office, there is a wall of fame, a wall of pictures of athletes next to the core belief, which is through sport, we have the power to change lives. And there you are. There is your photo. And you are forever embedded in the identity of Adidas Canada because of all the work you've done, because you really, truly embody and have always embodied exactly that core belief. So that was our first. I know.
I'm thinking back to that day.
Yes.
and that was, I was coming to the head office. I got
Yes.
invited to the head office, and it was like, Todd, we're having some security issues. You can't, like with the key fobs, you can't come through the front door. You've got to come through the back. And I remember being escorted through the back door, and the elevator opens up, and there's the team
Yes.
of Addy Golf. And I see this through sport. We have the power to change lives. You take me down. There is who? Terry Fox.
Yes.
There's Kim St. Pierre.
Yes.
There's JJ Watt. There is PK Subban, Tessa Virtue.
Such a virtue.
And then my monk.
you.
And I'm like, I was a blubbering mess for literally 2 days. Like I was in tears for 2 days because I just hit a golf ball. And to be recognized, it's just something I wasn't expecting.
Well,
and to me, it was incredible.
yes.
It really, really was.
Well, it was amazing that day.
Yeah.
But there's just so much that you've done and quite frankly continue to do. And so this podcast is all anchored on one question, which is what is one pivotal experience in your life? And we've all, I think, through work, through personal life, all had multiple, I would say, pivotal moments. And it would be great to learn from you if you were to have just one. If you had to choose just one, what would be that one pivotal moment in your life?
The end of 2013, I got diagnosed with skin cancer.
2023.
I'm sorry, 2023. Pardon
Yes.
me. My mistake. Pardon me. 2023. I don't think there's a more scarier word in the English dictionary than cancer. My dad passed away from it. And people just say it's just skin cancer.
Ooh.
But it's something that has changed my life immensely. It was on my face. Literally, it was on my nose. And people, it took a very good friend of mine named Jesse Litch. He was a baseball player for the Toronto
Yes.
Blue Jays, a pitcher.
Yes.
Ginger from St. Pete. And we were playing golf one day in Florida, and he's like, you need to get that checked out. And I knew something was going on. There was, it started off as a small mole. It started to evolve. But, being a guy, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Right.
It's just, all the years under the sun, and didn't really think too much about it. Went to my family doctor. Family doctor said, you need to go to a dermatologist. Went to the dermatologist. Didn't even have to do a biopsy. It was like, you've got skin cancer. And it was just like, whoa. It felt like the air was just ripped out from under me.
Yeah.
So from there, they had to do 4 rounds of something called Mohs surgery, which is where they cut around the tissue of where they think the cancer is. They take the tissue, they put it under a microscope, they check for the border of the skin to see if it's clear from cancer. Unfortunately, mine wasn't. Had to go in for a second round, checked again, wasn't clear. Third round, ended up having 4 rounds of something called Mohs surgery, which left a huge void in my nose. It was like a divot, really. I was literally, and this was scary, 2 millimeters away from losing the structural integrity of my nose and having to wear a prosthetic for the rest of my life. Now, I'm outside all the time in the heat, in the summer. I could not imagine wearing a prosthetic nose. But from there, they had to fill the void that was left in my nose. So they took a template of the tip of my nose, or they took a template of my nose, they put it on the top of my forehead. They then cut from eyebrow around the template back down to the other eyebrow. They peeled my forehead down, inverted it, and sewed it to my nose. So then I had this huge wound right here. They had to close it up, so it felt like I was wearing a hat that was 5 sizes too small. But for 3 months, literally, my nose and my forehead was attached. So it looked like I had a bridge.
Yes.
But every time I put ointment on the tip of my nose for the scarring and that, I'd feel it on the top of my forehead because all the nerve endings were still attached. The first time I did it, it freaked me out.
Freak you out.
Absolutely. Because I'm like, I'm touching here and I'm feeling it up here.
Right.
And the reason why they did that is if they were to do a skin graft from another part of the body, the second they take that off your body, it's basically dead. And then hopefully they put it on and it regrows, where this paramedian forehead flap, there's still constant blood supply.
Okay.
So then when they stitched it to me, it was still living and breathing, and it takes a lot easier. So, the medical science in the human body is pretty incredible. I've gone through nine facial reconstructive surgeries in the last year and a half. I have a pretty good relationship with my plastic surgeon.
I bet.
He has a bit of an ego, which is good for me because I'll walk in, he goes, yeah, you're not and I keep sliding him a picture of George Clooney and he's like, I'm not a miracle worker, but I'm okay with what I have right now. Like considering what I look like, I still have scars. I still have, where they inverted the skin, it created a flap here.
Okay.
But to me, my scars now tell a story. And I don't mind the conversation. If this is a conversation starter to educate somebody about skin cancer, I don't mind where I'm at right now.
Okay.
But it's been a tough journey. Your face is your brand. Your face is your identity.
Right.
I always tell, when you were looking at your kids at 6 months old, when you looked in their crib, their face lit up because they see your face. They identify with your face. Your face is your brand. I had no idea I went down a really dark hole online doing research.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Please don't tell me you Googled.
Oh, everything. Oh. I knew exactly what was going to happen. The hardest thing though, so I knew exactly what was going to happen, but it didn't prepare me emotionally. Yeah. I had no idea what I was going to be going through emotionally. And that was my, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right. So at the beginning, there was something on your nose that was abnormal.
Yep.
Other than I'm a guy, or as we say, I'm a mom, we just slide things under the carpet, we'll figure it out tomorrow. Yep. What was really going through your mind? Did it ever cross your mind that it would be something that was just benign? Did it cross your mind maybe it was cancer? Was it just not at all?
I didn't even think cancer. I had no idea. It got to the point where I had to be very careful with putting a shirt on, putting a shirt over my head, because if it rubbed against it, it would start to bleed.
Okay.
And it would take, 2 weeks for it to heal. Then I put another shot and bleed again. And those are the first signs of those are the warning signs that I did not know. I was ignorant about skin cancer.
Right.
Yeah, you hear about skin cancer, but I knew nothing about skin cancer. And in the last year and a half, hundreds of hours of research. Yes. I think I know a hell of a lot about skin cancer.
Right.
More so than most people.
Most people, yeah.
And those were the first signs, evolving, changing of borders. There's so many, they're the ABCs of skin cancer. And I had every one of them, but I didn't know anything about it. Know nothing about it.
What was your wife's reaction when she started to see things weren't quite normal?
She was pushing me.
Okay.
But it's nothing. It's nothing.
I got this.
And when I got diagnosed, I had a decision to make. I knew it was going to be 2 to 3 months of recovery, of looking not normal. And it was and I've done enough work with individuals that have psychological trauma, with the wounded military, with people in car accidents, you name it. And it was either I can go into recluse for those 2 or 3 months and be in my basement and not know where I was going to go. I knew I was going to go down.
Dark.
Yeah, I was going to get dark.
Right.
And I made the decision that, I'm going to expose everything. I'm going to go on social media and share, from learning it, that I had it, what my emotions were, to the day before the surgery, what my emotions were, what I was feeling, to literally hours afterwards with the bandages still on. I did like full Monty. I put myself out there, and it was the best thing I ever did, for two reasons. First of all, personally, going public, the amount of support that came, it was unbelievable.
Oh, good.
Unbelievable.
Good, yes.
Secondly, within the first 2 weeks, I had almost 40 golf pros reach out to me and go, Todd, your story is making me book an appointment with my dermatologist. So knowing that was happening as well too, and almost half of them had skin cancer. Like
really?
Literally half of them, they knew something was going on. But again, just like me, it was, it's nothing.
Right. I'll deal with it tomorrow.
I'll deal with it tomorrow.
Right.
And they booked appointment, and, I was receiving messages months afterwards going, my dermatologist, I have skin cancer as well too. Thankfully it wasn't as intrusive as mine.
Yes, absolutely.
And I say that as well too. It sounds a little bit morbid, but I'm glad it was so intrusive, because when I share my story, it creates that shock value.
Right.
And that shock value is what gives people a kick in the ass. If it was just a small little, a cut with a stitch, or if it was, a liquid burn to burn it off, it wouldn't have that same powerful impact. But going through what I did, and when I talk to people and when I show them the pictures, it's a wake up call.
Absolutely.
It really, really is.
The bravery, though, when you first told me, and then you said, and I'm going public with it, I was shocked. I probably shouldn't have been, because it's you, and you're next level brave in my eyes. But there's so many keyboard warriors out there. And I'm always afraid to put things on social media and online that aren't, maybe just a little bit vulnerable. But you were right out there, full vulnerability, bandages, emotional toll, and you completely owned it. But was there a moment where you thought, oh, maybe this isn't the right thing to do?
I questioned it every single day.
Okay.
Every single day, because as you said, like I left myself completely vulnerable. And that's something, I grew up, being a rough, tough hockey player, don't show pain, get off the ice when you're hurt, kind of thing. Don't show weakness.
Yes.
And I did. And a pivotal moment for me was, so I went through, a week of being bandaged up.
Yeah.
Then I had to go down to the plastic surgeon to get the bandages off. It was during the day. I come back home. I avoided looking in a mirror until I got home. So when I get home, I'm in the bathroom and I'm literally looking at this face that is not recognizable. And, there's dry blood, there's stitches, there's just everything going on. And next thing you know, I hear Julie come home, my wife.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm scared now.
Right.
What is she going to think?
Right.
So I hear her walk up the stairs, and she knows I'm in the bathroom. And literally, I'm just tracing the stitches on my face, and I'm just feeling things out. And she walks in the bathroom. I immediately turn my back to her.
Right.
And I'm trying to explain what it looks like.
Yeah.
And after about 30 seconds of trying to explain everything, I'm like, are you ready? And she's like, yeah. And I'm petrified. Like,
Absolutely.
It's the scariest I've ever been. Like, even with all the surgeries, with everything like that, that moment right there was the scariest I've ever had. I turn around and she looks at me and she goes, I can see your eyes. And again, I just melted.
Puddle.
Yeah, because, yes, I look like a monster. I really did. And she looked at me and she goes, I can see your eyes. I can see you in your eyes.
Yes.
And it was just literally, it was just, turned into a puddle. And it was that acceptance.
Yes.
Is she's my world.
Right.
you know, and how is she going to look at me for the rest of my life? You know, I
Right.
got scars and everything. But the second she said, I can see your eyes.
That made all
And
the
I
difference.
just,
Yeah.
so that was the big turning point right there.
Yeah.
Then it was like, okay, I got this.
I got this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's incredible. I mean, your wife is an incredible woman anyhow, but the ability to be, she would need to be so self-aware also that whatever facial expression, no matter what she said, whatever facial expression that she used would tell you everything. And I think that's incredibly hard as well.
Yeah.
Of not wanting to
Yeah.
show the shock.
Right.
Of,
Absolutely.
oh my goodness, my husband doesn't look like he did.
Right.
I didn't expect him to, but holy Hannah, right?
And I looked at everybody that approached me or I approached them, you know, I was on high alert on where they were looking. I would
Yes.
see a little frown. I would see a cock of an eyebrow. You know, I would look at them going, okay, you know, and it sounds funny. I went to Julie, I said, now I know what it looks like, or now it feels like to be a woman. It's like, no, my eyes are down here instead of, but everybody automatically focused right on the forehead.
Go straight there.
And it's like, no, I'm down here.
No, I'm right here.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was okay with it. You know, I had a couple, the first grocery store visit I went to, I had somebody that's like, oh my God, did you get into a knife fight? I'm like, wow, like how good is that, right?
Yeah.
You know,
have a good day too.
exactly. But again, it created an education piece. It created a conversation piece. And if I was able to just tell somebody, then they felt bad. You know, when I said, no, it's actually skin cancer and I'm, you know, a survivor.
Right.
And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Like they put them back a little bit.
Right.
But I was focusing on everybody's focus on me.
Right.
Like I would see the slightest little movement of an eyebrow or forehead, or it was crazy at first. But it's, you know, I was so self-conscious.
I bet.
So self-conscious.
I bet. And as you mentioned before, like your face is your brand. I mean, you're in the entertainment business. Your picture is everywhere, right? It's part of what you're offering. And so the ability to be okay with the fact that the brand image is changing slightly. Mm-hmm. And I've known you for a long time. It's not really anything. I mean, if somebody's just listening to this, you'd think, oh my goodness, what is she looking at? Right. You really look good.
Considering,
really
like
good.
I always say, I look at
I mean,
them
my
like,
goodness.
between medical science and the human body, it is powerful.
Incredible.
Powerful.
Yes.
Because, you know, it was almost like the movie Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. They literally took my face and put it somewhere else.
So
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you touched on it a little bit, but in a lot of your videos, you talked about the emotional toll. So the emotional toll of finding out the news, going through the surgery, of everything that comes with it, post-surgery, bandages on, bandages off, needing to go through more surgeries, the reaction of your wife and your family and your community. How did you get through that?
Just honestly knowing that I helped just even one person.
Okay.
That's what it was. And that's why I went public. Like, you know, the same like Julie gave me the same reaction you did she's like, are you sure you want to go down that route?
Right.
And it was like, yeah, I think, you know, this is what it's been dealt to me. And the thing about it is I've met so many incredible individuals that have gone through way worse than I have. And knowing how they came out of it. And, you know, some of the people, I'm sure we're going to get into it, but it's accepting what it is. You know, there's the fear, the doubt, the why me's. But the second you accept all those and say, okay, this is what I have now. How can we move forward?
Right.
You know, I was very lucky to have my experiences with incredible individuals that have suffered horrific situations, and knowing that they pulled through it, that it was hard through my own vanity and my own ego of, okay, I'm going to look different. but knowing that so many other people have gone through way worse than me and have come out way stronger, that's how I was able to get through it. Like if it would have happened to somebody else who may not have had the background that I have, it might have been a little bit more challenging.
Exposure.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly. It might have been a little bit more challenging, but with what I've gone through and the people that I've met, it made things a lot easier knowing.
Right.
Yeah, it's
perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So along this journey, what have you learned about yourself, about your community, and about the broader community?
The community has been awesome. The amount of support I received has just been incredible. Being in the golf industry, I had almost, when I first got diagnosed, almost 50 pros reach out to me saying, "You've made me go to the dermatologist." And over half of them had skin cancer themselves, which was an eye opener. So to me, sharing my story was so important. The golf industry as a whole, unfortunately, they're not open to it yet. And the numbers are staggering. 7% of the general public will get skin cancer at some point in their lifetime. Studies indicate 27% of golfers will get it in their lifetime. Now, 27%, again, it's just a number, but when you talk about a golfer, when I say one person in every foursome, that's when a golfer's eyes open up, because they can relate to that. They can't relate to 27%, but one in every four. That's when it really hits home. And the golf industry, I've even had one of our leading people in the golf industry has reached out to me and said, "Todd, while we appreciate what you're doing, quite frankly, it doesn't sell our profession."
What?
And,
that's crazy.
And I get it, because it's a negative side of it, but it's something that is going to happen. You can't change it.
Right.
So why not, instead of putting a negative to it, why don't we put a positive to it and say, hey, we want to protect our members, whether you're at a national level or if you're at a golf club level. We want to protect our members. We want to protect our staff. And it's putting that positive spin on it and educating people.
Right.
I had no idea about skin cancer. Knew about it, but I had no idea about it. And it's the education piece. And it's just, I don't think it's anybody's responsibility to put sunscreen on me, make me wear SPF clothing, put a bucket hat on me. That's my responsibility. But if I knew more about it, I would have taken probably more precaution.
Right. Well, and it's, first of all, I'm absolutely gobsmacked that would be a statement. And I get it, maybe from the view of, I don't want people to see golf as a risk to their health, but you can't wish it away. If 1 in 4, if that's the numbers, then that's the numbers. So it's inherent, I think, and on the industry to take ownership of that. And it, as you say, it's not a negative. It's really, quite frankly, it's an opportunity to educate.
They can put their own spin to it, the positive spin to it. They're saying how great the game of golf is for, mental health, for physical health. All these. There's so many. It's almost like golf is the elixir to all these heart disease and everything like that. But they're forgetting one thing: the other side of it as well too.
Yes.
And you can't do one without the other.
Yes.
And it's inevitable. We're playing an outdoor sport, whether it's sunny, whether it's cloudy, whether it's rainy, we're still getting hit by UV.
Right.
So let's raise awareness and make it so it's a positive that, hey, we want to protect our membership by the education piece, not turning it into, hey, you might get skin cancer. No, we can spin that, right?
You can nuance that message.
Absolutely. So it's a little bit, it's been an uphill struggle, but a lot of people from the grassroots side of it are understanding it. And I find it's the people that have already either have had it themselves.
Yes.
Like myself, I got my own personal kick in the ass, or somebody close to you. But the people that have never really been exposed, it's never, and I always relate it was never happened to me as well too.
Yeah,
but it did. But when the numbers are black and white,
right,
it's there. It's inevitable.
So if you were talking to a general manager or a head professional right now, and they said, "Okay, Todd, what can we do? What are your recommendations for raising awareness?"
There's simple things. There's, first of all, making SPF clothing available in your pro shop.
Yes.
Which most clothing manufacturers have right now. Having sunscreen available, but it's also having sunscreen available in the pro shop to buy. Maybe having it, and private clubs are very good at it. It's in the clubhouses of most private golf clubs. But maybe creating awareness signs on the first tee.
Yes.
Or on the back nine. Because you should be reapplying sunscreen every 2 hours. Well, golf's a perfect scenario because guess what? Front nine's 2 hours.
Yes.
Back nine's 2 hours. So maybe have a sign in 1 in 4 will get skin cancer. Don't let that be you. Simple, easy message.
Right.
And then on the turn, on the 10th hole, hey, have you reapplied your sunscreen?
Yes.
Again, you're not forcing people to do it, but you're creating that awareness piece. And it's really as simple as that.
It is.
2 signs.
2 signs.
But people are going to be seeing it every time they play golf. And at some point, hopefully, it'll hit home.
It'll get the message.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
So,
and that's what we need, right? We
Very
need
much
more
so.
people to get that message.
and it's just a message.
Yes.
It's just a message. It's up to the individual. As I said, it's nobody's responsibility
No.
other than myself. But I didn't have the education that I do now. And now, it's staggering what UV does. And it's not the golf industry. We're talking every sport, cycling, tennis, soccer. Think about how many kids are playing soccer unprotected, right?
Absolutely.
You got baseball, you have football, you have industry workers, construction. Everybody's out in the sun, whether it's through recreation or whether it's through work. And it's just not, but you go to other countries and it's huge. You take Australia, there's radio announcements every hour, turnover, or, because it's so prevalent down there.
Yes.
And we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just taking best practices from different regions that are getting it and making it our own.
Right. Because it's not about not going outside.
No.
Right? I mean, Canadians love being outdoors, right? After 6 months of being stuck inside with the winter conditions sometimes. And so it's not don't go outside. It's just be mindful of when you go outside that you need to be smart about it. Just make good choices.
Respect the sun.
Yes, exactly.
Just respect the sun.
Right.
Simple.
That's perfect. The stats that you have provided focus on golf, but you then blow that up to the 30, 40 million Canadians. And now all of a sudden, the numbers get worse and worse and worse.
That's right. So I just wrote an article for Tennis Ontario.
Oh, very good.
So it's crossing over to different sports. I just had Pickleball Canada reach out to me.
Nice.
I had one of the largest youth soccer associations reach out to me.
Okay.
And so, it's now crossing borders now.
Right.
And as you said, there's so many people that are outside.
Absolutely.
And so many people just need to understand because, again, we know not, unless somebody immediate or ourselves have been diagnosed with skin cancer, we don't know anything about skin cancer.
Absolutely.
I was ignorant towards it. And here I am spending thousands of hours under the sun.
Right.
In my life.
So with that, obviously, you've done a lot of research. You've partnered with Melanoma Canada. You've partnered with some skincare companies.
Yeah, it's called Blue Lizard. Yeah.
Blue Lizard. So what are you doing with this newfound experience, if you wanted to call it that?
So it started off, I started doing some talks.
Yes.
Educating individuals. I ended up being a keynote speaker at the PGA show in Orlando, which is a largest show, as you know, the largest show in the world. I think we had 70 countries. Just recently I spoke at for the LPGA.
Very good.
Now I'm speaking at private golf clubs for their membership. And it's just, it started off with, I spoke at the PGA of Atlantic, Canada, their AGM.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, my God, this is a very somber topic. Like, how am I going to, like, I'm an entertainer. Like, I want to have fun with people. I want to have a good time.
Absolutely.
How am I going to make skin cancer fun? I figured it out.
Okay.
I did I threw some jokes in there, threw some, and I created and the biggest reaction I got was, you humanized skin cancer for us. And that was the best thing. But I made it fun. I made it interactive. Same with the PGA show. And I'm pretty proud of what I did because what I've done now is I've taken everything that I wish I would have known.
Yes.
And I've turned it into a talk.
Exactly.
Driving a car, having an office window. All these things are skin cancer. All these things you're getting hit by UV and we don't realize it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I have
altitude,
Right.
you know,
Right.
what sunscreen should you wear? How dark your skin is, if you have a base tan, there's so much, like I can talk for hours now about it. And
Right.
and people leave going, wow, I had no idea.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So if we cycle all the way back to the beginning and we talked about what's that one pivotal moment in your life, and we've obviously been talking about skin cancer, but you've had, just like everybody else, multiple pivotal moments. And one of them is actually tattooed on your arm. Yeah. And I would love if you would share with us one of the craziest stories, because you and I, once again, maybe I'm an omen. I'm not quite sure.
Might be.
Like, this is not good as I'm thinking about this. But 5 days after, we taped an incredible series of videos with some incredibly talented adaptive golfers. You literally died on the operating table.
Yeah, I did.
So, hello. Why don't we talk about that one for a minute?
Okay, let's go back. So first of all, the relationship that I had with you and the relationship that I have with Addie was incredible. It's been incredible. It gave instant credibility to adaptive golfers in Canada. It gave them a voice. It gave them an opportunity. Addie filmed a documentary at the LPGA when it was happening at Whistlebear.
Yes.
In 2016.
16. I thought it was 18. 16.
2000.
Okay.
So that was just before Labor Day.
Yes.
So I've had issues with my esophagus. My esophagus spasms up constantly. And if it spasms up when I'm eating, food will get trapped. So I've got to drink water to really force it down, or drink water to hit a gag reflex to bring up whatever food is stuck in there. So 5 days after this incredible documentary was filmed, it was Labor Day. It was the Monday of Labor Day. Food gets trapped. Now, it's happened all my life. So I'm now working on it. I'm drinking water. I'm hitting gag reflexes. It's coming up. It's not moving. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the hospital. And then what they do is, if I go to the hospital, they'll hook me up with a muscle relaxant in the IV. And if it relaxes the esophagus, the food will pass. If it doesn't pass, then I've got to go on the operating table, and they go down and pull out whatever is stuck in there. So I was busy with work the whole summer, and I have a motorcycle, and I'm like, I'm going to ride my motorcycle to the hospital, because guess what? I now have the opportunity to. So here I am with this piece of food. So I go to one hospital, I pull into the emergency, it's packed. So I'm like, okay, let's go to the other hospital that's in the country, because I know it's not busy. So I ride my motorcycle up there, and I tell them the situation. They're like, oh, okay, like you're experienced with this. Okay. So they do a little bit of tests, and they're like, yeah, you're right. So, but they realized I was on a motorcycle, and they're like, well, we can't, you're going to go under, and we can't discharge you without somebody here. So it's a Labor Day weekend. I'm phoning friends. I'm like, hey, no, we're at the cottage. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give my mom a call. So I call my mom. And she's like, okay, I'll be ready. And the hospital was probably a half hour north of where we lived. Right. So she gets to the hospital. I'm being wheeled in. I'm like, okay, I'll see you in a half hour, because I know it's a really simple procedure, in and out, quick little to knock me out, take the food out, and then I'm fine. She's waiting in the waiting room. I'm going in for surgery. Next thing you know, all hell breaks loose. Bells and whistles are going off. A code blue's called. I went into a respiratory arrest. I flatlined. I was dead on the operating table for almost 5 minutes.
What?
No idea what was going on. Surgeon walks out to my mom, and I'm already, and he goes, we don't think we can bring your son back. Spun around, went back in the room, started working on me again. My mom's like,
what?
Nobody's with her. What the hell's going on? Like bedside manner. Right?
Yeah, no kidding. Right? Yeah. A little bit of work there.
Exactly. So all of a sudden they get me going again. They induce a coma. They cut me open. So what ended up happening when they went in, they got a whole bunch of air in my stomach, which then put pressure on my lungs and collapsed my lungs instantly. And they weren't ready for it. So they cut me open a bunch of places. They cut me open on the side. They cut me open 5 different places. They cut me open on the side, got my lungs going again. But I woke up 23 hours later out of an induced coma in another hospital and not knowing what the hell's going on. So now, as I said before, my dad passed away and everybody said, did you see anything? Did you see the light? And I always say, yeah, I saw red and I saw a lot of heat and I was going down, right?
Yeah.
That's my joke, right? I was going to hell. But I don't know how to explain it, but it was more, I literally, and I don't know if it was coincidence, to me, I've got to see this glass move to know that there's something. Like I need something, right? I need something.
Get it.
But I literally, as I was coming out of the coma, I knew my dad was there and he's like, yeah, you're not ready. Yeah, you still got more stuff to do. Was kind of the message that, like, it wasn't word for word, but that was the kind of message.
Yeah. And
I'm still thinking, did that really, when I came out, I remembered it, it was almost like a dream.
Absolutely.
And it's like, did that really happen? But now I honestly think it was. And it was so weird because there was a clock behind me in intensive care when I came out and there was glass for the room. And I'm looking at the reflection of the clock and it's backwards, but I'm able to read exactly what time it was. Like I knew it was 5:45 the night after. Like I didn't realize I was out for 23 hours, but I knew what time it was. And I woke up and I'm in a different hospital. But what's crazy is now when I look at that incredible Adidas documentary, I'm like, that could have been my memorial video. And every time I watch that video, that was like, that could have been like, it was literally fun. Like it wasn't even in editing.
No, it wasn't.
It was nothing. Like I was dead, like flatline. So I now have a tattoo on my arm. It's a heartbeat, a flat line and another heartbeat with that date in it. And it's my reminder. And as I said, I've done a ton of work with wounded military.
Yes.
And whenever I go to a rehabilitation hospital, down south, a veterans hospital, sometimes I'll hear Happy Alive Day. And I had no idea what Alive Day was. So I finally asked somebody I was close to, and I said, what does this Alive Day mean? And they said, it's the day that we either died or should have died on the battlefield.
Okay.
So not only now do they celebrate their birthday, but now they celebrate their Alive Day. And so this happened. I'm like, yeah, I got an Alive Day now, right?
Exactly
so,
right.
Yeah. So that was a life changer in the fact of, I was on a high. Adidas just filmed a documentary, like the largest sporting brand in the world, filmed the doc, and here I was dead 5 days later. So it made me realize, so I started talking, doing a lot of motivational talks on the value of time.
Yes.
On time is our most precious commodity. Time is our most valuable resource, but time is what we all take for granted.
Absolutely.
And I grew up playing sports all my life, and when I talk about this talk, I say, what is the most exciting time in sports? And the most exciting time in sports is when time's about to expire. In hockey, we pull the goalie, throw the extra attacker out there. Joe Carter's home run, in the ninth inning. Football, it's the Hail Mary pass. Basketball, it's the half buzzer beater, half court. NASCAR racing, it's 6 wide around that last turn because they're all playing with this sense of urgency. And I always say, wouldn't our lives be a lot more fuller, if we knew, not, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next year, I'll do it when I retire. But if you had an idea, my God, we would live so much more fulfilled lives. And we wouldn't be waiting for something to happen. So that's kind of the premise of the talk. And it goes on for almost an hour, but it's giving people a wake-up call.
Right.
So now not only do I have the wake-up call with that, but now the wake-up call with, hey, we need to protect our skin.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing. So everything to me is like a wake-up call.
It is.
Right.
And they are very closely linked.
Incredibly, yeah. So.
But I do appreciate something you said earlier about being an advocate and about skin cancer awareness is unlike dying on the operating table, which is massively traumatic. And my first thought actually goes to your mom and my reaction of, are you kidding me? Yeah. You cannot leave me with that.
Right.
And then 23 hours later, being able to see you. But it's the idea, as you tell the story of being on the operating table, literally dying on the operating table, and then being an advocate for skin cancer awareness. I can see why you chose skin cancer awareness as your most pivotal moment, because it feels like your real life's mandate is to leave an incredible legacy and to make sure that people make positive change because of you being in their lives. And I look at the value that you bring to everybody with all the advocacy that you're doing, all the work on skin cancer awareness. Unlike dying on the operating table, it's visual. You can see it on your face. It's not prominent. It's not got a sign, but it starts a conversation. And I think if you're using that conversation to change lives, to save lives, and it ties in really well as well with your conversation about the value of time and the fact that we all think we're invincible. Right. I'll do it tomorrow. Yep. Oh, I'll call that person tomorrow. We push everything, and it's not because we're procrastinators, but because we always think that there's going to be a tomorrow. But whether it's on an operating table or it's through cancer or whatever it may be, there isn't always a guaranteed tomorrow. And I think what you are so good at doing is really articulating to people the value of life, the value of relationships, and now the value of awareness, and taking this opportunity to actually make a change and make a difference. And I think, obviously I'm a huge fan of yours.
Well, that's deep. I don't even think I'm like that, but coming from you, it's a huge compliment. I don't know. Maybe I just don't give myself enough credit, but to me, it's just, okay, I think I can help somebody else out.
You can help somebody out.
The thing about it is and again, I think morbid thoughts. I'm thinking, I'm so glad it was so intrusive and 9 surgeries later, but I also think, that experience of dying on the operating table, it made me appreciate life a lot more.
Yes.
And it's really weird because I think about death daily. And people are like, you do what? And I'm like, I think about death daily. I think about, if this is the last time I'm going to see you, I'm going to make sure when I leave here, you're going to get the biggest hug.
Absolutely.
I make sure that when I'm petting my dogs, when I'm leaving my dogs and going for the day, I want them to feel as loved as possible because I might not have that opportunity again. And thinking about death has made me really live a lot more fuller because I value that. I value that time. I value that. I appreciate the moment more rather than taking it for granted.
Yes.
And I find now I'm not taking a lot of things for granted anymore because I'm looking at things going, if this is and literally I think about it constantly. If this is the last time I see this person, or if this is the last time I leave my house and I get into a car accident, I want to make sure that person or whoever feels like they are the most important person in my life.
Right, exactly.
And it's made me live a lot more. It's made me appreciate things more. I taste food a lot better now. I drink a glass of wine and savor it a lot better because I'm just living in the moment now.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, again, and we all get that kick in the ass when somebody close to us passes away.
Yes.
And we're like, okay, I got it. But then we fall back into that rut. It might not be a week. It might not be a month, but we fall. But if you can embrace that feeling of what you have when you lost somebody, and if you can keep that and think about that, I guarantee you're going to live a lot fuller life. You're going to appreciate things a lot more.
That's incredible. Because I have to tell you, the one thing that scares me the most is with most people is death. And I think coming face to face with it and actually having a conversation and thinking about it every day, I'd be running for the hills. But it's an incredible perspective.
Yeah.
And really, so if you were to have one thing for the audience to take away, what would be your words of wisdom?
Oh my God, just appreciate things, live in the moment, and it sounds so cliche. Live like you're dying. Like
Right.
seriously, like Tim
Yeah.
McGraw made a very famous song.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, that goes in one ear and out the other because you hear this all the time. Oh, live life to the fullest. Live.
Yeah.
But you really, and when I do my talks, I ask tough questions where people have to think about that. And I'm
Yes.
like, okay, remember that feeling.
Right.
And keep that feeling. If somebody passes away that's close to you, remember how you felt and remember that wake up call you got and keep that, because
Right.
I guarantee if you embrace that, and I've embraced death, and it's something we're supposed to not talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I
Right.
think about it constantly, and
Right.
embracing it, it's made me live a lot fuller life. Like a lot fuller life. I appreciate things so much more. My hugs are so much tighter now. Like, I just want people to know, like, every day I want to make sure that the people around me know how much I love them and appreciate them.
Right.
And I think if a lot of us in the world thought like that too, my God, how great would this world be?
No kidding.
Right?
No kidding. Well, with that, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. I appreciate you as a friend, as what you've been a colleague, as an advocate for those who were unaware, for those who couldn't necessarily speak for themselves. And the legacy you're leaving is incredible. And I am so incredibly honored that you came and joined us today. And I'm so privileged that you and I are friends and that our paths crossed. And I wish you nothing but the best. And it's always amazing just being in your aura. I just absolutely adore you. You're the best.
I appreciate it. Coming from you, everything that you've accomplished, it means the world to me coming from you. And I value what we have. And we don't see each other a lot, but I know
when we do, it matters.
But exactly. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
providing me with the opportunity of telling my story and sitting in a chair beside you.
We will keep doing this again.
I love it.
I totally appreciate it. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
And to everybody listening and watching, thank you. I really appreciate your time, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this story resonated and gave you something to reflect on. If it did, please share it with someone you care about, and be sure to subscribe so you can continue to hear more pivotal stories involving one question, one turning point, one powerful story. Join me next week with another guest on the Leslie Hawkins podcast.